Yes, looks like I'm live. Hi, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome to this little chat. I'm just touching today on making space for pleasure in our busy lives. How do we do that? First of all, I am Jessica Angelari, sensuality, feminine embodiment coach, teacher, facilitator, and I just love talking about such topics as this because this is what makes me feel alive, and seeing women as well cultivating their own sensual aliveness and their pleasure in their body, because I know that this is how we thrive. And I love witnessing women in this state of being, in this really natural state of being, which is in all of us women. So first of all, I'm going to could talk about this topic for hours and days, but I don't want to hold you all here. So when you think of pleasure, okay, your mind might go straight into the bedroom or what you do sexually, right? And that's no fault of our own. This is a conditioning that we've been playing out, that pleasure equals sex. Pleasure equals pleasing your partner. But what if I told you that pleasure is so much more than that, and it goes far beyond the bedroom? Pleasure is actually, I also want to just say, it's interesting because I was trying to find an image that captured this talk today, pleasure, right? And as I was using different platforms to find different images, and using that keyword pleasure, everything was related to sex, and not sex in a sacred way either. It was sex in the eyes of the masculine, or in this patriarch, I should say, this performance. Even the gift that I tried to find, I typed in pleasure or sexiness, and all I could see were things related to penises or women really over-sexualized. So that was a really interesting awareness that I noticed. It didn't sit well with me. Anyway, that's a topic for another conversation. But yeah, it was really interesting how much dismantling we have to do around this topic, whether it's around sexuality, pleasure, sensuality, even the feminine. And this is why I love the work that I do, because this is what I'm all about. So, okay, let's reframe the word pleasure away from the act, all right, of doing something. Pleasure is not something you need to do. It's not something we need to do more of. Pleasure is actually in our experience. It's in our lived experience in every single moment. Everywhere you can experience pleasure in everything that, yeah, you're in. Okay. So I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my, okay. So cultivating pleasure is part of the journey into our sensuality and sexuality, which is actually our deep reclamation of our greatest power of the feminine. And the body is the core of how we define pleasure. So, and sensuality and our erotica. So it becomes really a sovereign act when we start to claim our own body for ourselves, when we start to claim pleasure for ourselves and not about doing it for the sake of the other person. So let's look at pleasure as our whole universe. It's about loving and living life. It's us having a love for love, a love for life. Sexuality is our avenue. Okay, so pleasure is, we can experience pleasure in our sexuality, but pleasure is everything. It's about living your life in your whole fullest essence, which is the direct experience with your feminine energy, which is also spirit. Okay, and it becomes, this power is actually our orgasmic energy. And that energy that we cultivate with our pleasure really feeds our vitality, it feeds our desires, it feeds, the way that we glow. It feeds the way that we are able to meet with life in a much more pleasurable way. And this is the beauty about being in a woman's body, is that we get to enjoy all of these juices, everything that life has to offer. But we've lost this. It's not our fault, and I'm not here judging. It's just, this world does not support us women really feeling into our body, tapping into our body sensations so that we can experience pleasure in every moment. It doesn't support us. And so what's happened is we've disconnected ourselves from this, and we feel numb. And what has also happened is that we've put pleasure into the category of guilt. Well, we feel guilty around experiencing pleasure. And it could be in the most simplest things. You could find yourself, if you're looking at pleasure like it's play, it's fun, it's what makes you feel alive in your body. And so what we're doing is, I'm trying to think of an example here for you. You might push that idea of pleasure away because you have all these other things that you need to do. Once I do this, I need to do all of this on my checklist before I can enjoy myself, before I can slow down, before I can even think about play, before I can think about what makes me feel alive and sexy and sensual. We're not prioritizing this. This is not something that we're living. We're not living from this state, but we just need to practice. And this is why I also love working with women. I feel really passionate about it because I love guiding women into expanding more into this feminine energy, which we all have access to, okay, which is our power. And this is where our magic actually happens. And from this space, we become more creative, we become more alive, and life starts to move more with ease. So we are not, yes, like I said, we're not in a world that really caters for this state of being. We are in a world of overproductivity, we're very goal orientated. We really push all of these pleasurable experiences to the side. When I do this, then I'll have it. I mean, we even say, we even have that phrase of a guilty pleasure. We won't even have that ice cream or that cake because we have a sense of guilt in there from enjoying it. But let me ask you, do you think that you are not deserving of enjoying such deliciousness that life has to offer? You are so deserving of it in every single moment of your life. So if you want that chocolate cake, I mean, I'm not denying healthy eating and healthy lifestyle. This is not what it's about. But why do we feel so much guilt around enjoying these simple pleasures? Okay. And this is what it's about. It's about reclaiming pleasure in your erotic nature. This is a deep sense of self-awareness. because what you do is you come back into your body and you start to connect deeper with your sensations. You start to realize that your pleasure and your body and what makes you feel alive is actually a responsibility for you. You're not leaving it up to someone else. And then when, I don't know, when you feel like, oh, the sex is so bad, you start to put less responsibility on the other person. And instead, you make it your responsibility because you know it's your priority. No one else is responsible for making you a certain way. You have that power. It's in you. But we need to make space for this in our life. No one else is going to do it. This world is harsh. We all know that. This world is not going to tell you when to take a step back and start enjoying yourself and start bringing pleasure into your life. It's not going to happen until you do that. So this is an invitation here for you to learn how to experience pleasure. Make it part of your everyday being. You know, it's again, it's not something you do that's extra. It's just who you are. It's how you experience life in every moment. So what if you knew that your pleasure is the experience in every moment? How would you then feel, do you think? How would you feel if you knew that your life, every single moment, was an opportunity for you to experience pleasure without feeling guilty about it, without self-sabotaging or creating these stories, which I hear a lot, these stories that, oh, I don't have time, I'm too busy for that. But the thing is, we're all wishing, we're all manifesting for this world and space of love and softness and receptivity, and yet we're not putting the effort in. We're not making space for these very important, powerful aspects that we have available to us always. And life is meant to be enjoyed in all of its pleasures. It's not meant to be this serious, right? And you can experience pleasure in your laughter, in the way that you love, in the way that you have an enjoyment of things, in the way that you can feel pleasure, you know, by bringing your awareness to the way that your child gives you a hug, or the way that your partner might, you know, stroke your face. Those really simple things. So let's come away from this idea that pleasure equals sex. Again, pleasure can be sexual, yes, but it's so much more than that. And we need to know that we're all deserving of feeling this bliss in life, feeling this love, feeling this joy. And once you start to really open up yourself into receiving and experiencing these beautiful elements of life, then what you do is, because you're expanding yourself, you're opening yourself, you are then extending those parts of yourself into other parts of your life. And then it will have a beautiful effect in your love relationship, or even with the relationship that you have with your children. Okay, so how do we make space for this? Well, I just mentioned a couple of things, right? And you're probably thinking that's so simple. But it is so simple. Pleasure is simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's not something that we need to perform to do. But we need to slow down, okay? Slow down to feel everything, all the sensations that are in your body without judgment. Just allow it to be there. And the more you can do this, the more you become more in touch with, maybe there are things that come up that you might not like, but then behind that, there are also really positive, magical feelings behind that too. And we need to feel safe to do so. And that's what I actually teach in my mentorship, my 6-week program. I hold a safe container for you women. So, and provide these practices where you do feel safe to open up, where you do feel safe to bring pleasure in your body, where you do feel safe to be receptive to all the sensations that are just so alive in your body and are wanting to shine through, okay, and wanting your awareness as well, because this is where a lot of magic and growth happens. So again, you need to make space. No more making excuses. I don't have time. We all have time. We go to the gym, we have time. We're always practicing things. So let's infuse pleasure into our experiences. And it can be something as simple as slowing down, like I said, taking a few deep breaths. Okay. You can do it in the shower. Instead of having a really quick shower and trying to get out there because you have to cook dinner and you have to do this and that and get to your business and your call, take those extra couple of minutes, which you have, and lather yourself up with soap. Put some music on as well while you're in the shower and just stroke your body, touch your naked body with the soap, lather yourself and just move to the music. Start infusing pleasure into your everyday life so then you can start being from that, being in that state of pleasure. When you're moisturizing your skin, instead of doing it really fast, again, slow down, do it really intentionally. Notice what kind of touch you like when you are putting your moisturizer on your skin. How does it feel? We never do these things. It could be something as simple as getting some essential oil, your favorite essential oil. And I always do this at the beginning of my sessions because it helps me to connect with my senses in the moment and ground myself. Just take a few moments and take some inhales of your essential oil, put it on your palm. Yeah. Move your body, put your favorite music on, touch your hair as you're listening to the music, but do it really slowly. So practice doing things slowly, more slowly than you would normally. Okay, that's what this is about. Smell the flowers. I mean, it sounds so simple, but really, a lot of us we look at the flowers, it's beautiful, I'm going to buy the flowers and just put it in the vase. Take some moment, take 5 minutes, 2 minutes to just look at the flowers. Almost make love to the flowers. Feel the petals between your fingers. How does it feel? Sometimes it feels velvety, or I can smell it on my fingertips. Really bring your sensations, your senses through. Connect with your senses, with your touch, with your smell, okay? With your sound when you breathe out. Doing all of these little things makes a difference. And when you're in my program as well, I bring a lot of these things into my sessions with things, something as simple as an orgasmic breath, which I lead you in, or a breast massage, just to bring that connection back to yourself, and connection back to your heart and your breasts, which are pleasure. Your nipples are pleasure points. And the goal, well, I was going to say, I'm going to invite you to not make orgasm as the goal. We need to stop thinking about pleasure as, yes, it's orgasmic, definitely. Like me making those those sounds are orgasmic, right? But it doesn't mean I'm having an actual physical orgasm. That I'm just trying to help you understand that we're not always looking for the end goal, the end result of an orgasm, but slowing down and connecting with your breath, with your sound, with your body is orgasmic. And you start to realize how much you can make love with life, and start to calm your nervous system, start to bring that sense of radiance and safety, and knowing that you're worthy of receiving this, and your body is yours. Your body is beautiful. Your body is beautiful when you are connected and embracing your body. It's not beautiful when you're skinny and you need to tick off all the boxes and have that perfect flat stomach. That's not how we need to define beauty. Your beauty comes through you enjoying life. This is the beauty of being in a woman's body, is that we can. It's so orgasmic. And I love watching Carlos, my partner, him watching me being so alive in my body. You know, even if I'm just moving or breathing, he loves that I have that ability to do that. So I hope that, sort of brought a little bit of food for thought. And just know, when you practice these over time, what you're doing here is sending messages to the neural pathways in your brain that, I'm safe. Is this what pleasure feels like? Wow, I want more of that. And your pleasure it's yours. So then when you are in your intimate relationship and you are experiencing your, sex, you know that you know this gift of pleasure in yourself. So you're not striving to please him or her. You're not striving to do that. You already know how that pleasure feels within you. And then what that union becomes in your sexual experience, it just becomes both of you uniting and enhancing that pleasure together. It just becomes an explosion of pleasure. So it's not, I'm going to have sex now to experience pleasure. No, you already know how that feels like. You've already offered that to yourself. And you know the goodness that comes with it. And then your body starts to understand and receive pleasure the more that it feels it. And it takes time, it takes practice. So just start where you're at and just slow down. It's the biggest thing. Slow down in everything. If you're going to take away anything from here today, slow down. And I just want to see all of you being and feeling magnetic and radiant and just orgasmic, and not see it as something that's unsafe or dirty. But I guess that's why I'm here, to talk about these things, to hopefully break some of those old paradigms. But I can't do it alone. you know? So remember, you can always contact me if you want to know more about how we can infuse pleasure into your life in my 6-week mentorship program, Reclaim and Reignite Your Sensual Feminine. And yeah, just overall feel sexy and alive and confident. So then you can have wonderful, explosive sexual experiences as well with your lover. So I'll leave you there, and yeah, feel free to DM me. I'm here, and if you want to know more, we can have a chat as well. And as always, I love you all, and big kisses.